Willkommen zu dieser weiteren Folge von Katherine Rain. Das ist jetzt, glaube ich, Folge 23. Nur ein paar kleine Worte vorneweg. Die Tonspur dieser Folge ist irgendwie verschwunden oder verloren gegangen, was auch immer, auf jeden Fall nicht mehr da. Und deswegen habe ich das jetzt nachsynchronisiert. Und ja, es kann sein, wenn die Sachen nicht so genau auf den Punkt sind, wenn sie das überhaupt sonst sind. Ja, so und nun geht's weiter hier mit Kathy Rain.
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in '81?
I wish I did, Kathy. You must know I did everything in my power to help. How do you think Mary Elizabeth could afford all that expensive treatment? MRIs, neurologists, say what you will about Joseph. But he was never rich.
Strange. Grandma never mentioned that to me.
She's just too proud. At first she refused. She was convinced that I had an agenda, that there were strings attached.
And were there?
Don't be silly. Despite all that had happened, I still loved Joseph dearly. I wanted to help. People from places like this have a deeply rooted mistrust in the rich, passed on for generations. In her eyes, I had become one of them.
So that's all you know about the whole affair?
Are you implying that there's more to know? I left the diagnosis to the professionals. Mrs. Rain accepted the health care, but asked me to stay out of everything else. So I did.
I see. What can you tell me about your friendship with Grandpa?
Joseph was the best friend I ever had. We grew up together, married our high school sweethearts together, went to war together. I can't even begin to count the number of times he's saved my life. I repaid the favor once or twice, but he came up ahead, no doubt.
So when did you two lose touch? I heard that something happened between you and him. What was it?
The truth is, Brian Rain happened. Sharon Evans happened.
My parents?
Yes. They ruined everything with their vile, destructive behavior. I couldn't have that around my daughter or my newborn grandson. Joseph was naive. He believed that anyone could be helped, that anyone could be reasoned with, given a chance. He was just too good, bless him. He should have been harder on Brian, more strict.
Das ist natürlich starker Tobak. Hier geht es um ihre Eltern. Also ihm zustimmen, dass strenge das Richtige gewesen wäre. Ihm sagen, dass der Großvater keine Schuld trifft. Nicht sagen. Das weiß sie ja nicht. Sie kennt ja ihre Eltern. Ihr Vater ist ja abgehauen. Ihre Mutter ist wahnsinnig geworden oder wie auch immer durch Drogenkonsum. Ich glaube, nicht sagen ist hier einfach die beste Lösung.
So our family started drifting apart. Eventually my company grew much too large for this little town, and we moved on. Not long after that, your grandfather ended up in that wheelchair. That marked the end of our friendship, for obvious reasons.
You bought a number of paintings by Lily Myers. Why?
I'm known to dabble in art from time to time. Martha, my wife at the time, was enamored with the paintings. I believe she first saw them at the high school which the Myers girl attended. Anyway, after the poor girl killed herself, I bought the paintings speculatively. When a young artist with any talent to speak of commits suicide, it can be a wet dream of certain connoisseurs. Shortly after procuring the art, I had it valued by an expert who determined that the value was 3 times the amount I bought it for. Today, I'm sure I would have made my money back tenfold or more if it wasn't for the art theft.
What art theft?
There was a burglary at the mansion I used to own here in town. It was all over the local news at the time.
Well, shit.
Eloquently put.
Tja, ja, das ist natürlich nicht so, ich weiß nicht. einfach nur kaufen, um mit dem Leid anderer Leute dann mehr Geld zu machen. Ich weiß, das ist sehr, sehr konform, in Anführungszeichen, in so Kunstkreisen tatsächlich.
Do you recognize the call sign cocky?
Would be strange if I didn't, since I was the one who coined it. It belongs to a fellow named Jimmy Cochran. He was a coward, really. The nickname is somewhat of a bad joke.
Perfect. Thanks. Tell me about Jimmy Cochran. Is he still alive?
In a literal sense. He's been held in a mental institution for years.
Let me guess. Since 81?
Either 82 or 83. I'm fairly certain it was early 83.
Do you remember the name of the institution?
Something starting with an E. Emerson, Everton, or similar.
Ingstrom? Ingstrom Psychiatric Hospital?
Yes, that's the one. You know the place, Kathy.
Ihm die Wahrheit über Mom erzählen, etwas erfinden. Ja, ich glaube erfinden.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've passed the building a few times in the city. So, do you know why Jimmy ended up in there?
Some obsessive-compulsive syndrome. He became fixated with circles and started hurting himself, trying to scratch the circles out of his head.
Creepy. I wonder what set him off. I think I'll check the place out tomorrow. Too late to head back to the city now.
Also in der Nervenheilanstalt, wo ihre Mutter auch ist er. Ob das mal nicht, ich glaube, das muss mehr als Zufall sein. Ich glaube, sie hat ihre Mutter auch sehr, sehr lange nicht mehr besucht oder macht bewusst einen Bogen um sie, weil sie einfach nicht mehr mit ihr klarkommt.
Can you tell me about the art theft?
Well, somebody broke in, stole the paintings, and got out. Fairly clumsy job. Lots of broken windows. The strangest thing was that I had a Monet, a Rembrandt, and 2 paintings by Picasso, untouched. But every single painting by an unknown local artist, gone.
That can't be a coincidence.
Agreed. Somebody wanted those paintings badly.
I assume there was an investigation.
Yes, Sheriff Truman came by with his deputy a few hours later, but they didn't have much luck. They found a few hairs, which turned out to be from Ruffles, the family dog.
Some stunning police work right there.
Indeed. There was a single witness, though, who said he could make out multiple burglars leaving the scene of the crime, but nothing more than that.
So, I take it the case was closed?
Yes. I honestly didn't care much one way or the other, given the fact that my most expensive pieces were safe and sound.
I think I'll have a chat with the sheriff about the matter, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. I'll call ahead and instruct him to give you everything you need.
That'd be great. Thanks, Charles.
Anytime. But I'm curious, what's your interest in the paintings?
I've learned that my grandfather went to Sue and asked to see them, right before he had his injury.
Is that so? Strange.
What can you tell me about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
They seem like any other church to me. But then again, I'm not their usual clientele. Weddings, baptisms, and funerals are just about what I can muster. And I always leave early.
I don't need to ask him about that. Thanks, Charles. That's all I need for now.
You're welcome, Kathy. Come back anytime.
Da haben wir alles. Vielleicht nochmal umgucken, was es hier sonst noch gibt, aber ich glaube, das war alles, was wir machen konnten. Wir haben sehr
A private
viel erfahren.
phone. Wade must get special privileges here.
So sieht's aus, aber
He looks weak, but his eyes are sharp. Just some boring landscape paintings. Looks like Wade brought some of his old tombs with him. Looks like just some boring That guy is huge. I wonder how many cows he eats per day. I'd rather not. He'd crush me like a twig.
Ich frage mich, warum der ein Bodyguard... Gut, er ist sehr, sehr reich. Aber schon ein bisschen verdächtig, finde ich. Braucht der so Schutz? Wo gehen wir denn jetzt hin? Es gab eine polizeiliche Untersuchung, dann werden wir doch mal nach einem Bericht fragen, denke ich, wenn wir da schon mal da sind.
Hello, Sheriff. Mind if I ask you a few more questions?
If you must.
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is?
Nope.
Do you know anything about the art theft in the Wade estate?
Yes, Mr. Wade phoned ahead about that. Lenny,
Yes, boss.
get the report from the burglary in the Wade estate back in '86.
On it, boss. There you go, Kathy.
Thanks, buddy.